Greetings from the cosmic horde. The stars are right once again, and the great old ones allow us to talk about for 30 plus minutes H.P. Lovecraft, the horror writer who is a genre unto himself. I am your cosmic host, Mark Griffin, executive of the Lovecraft estate on Yagath, joined in by two from the material world, David Guffey, a professor at Mispatonic University, and Richard Wilson, who is ready to turn on the resonator. For today's episode, we have no guest, none whatsoever. It's been a while since we've talked about all the books, movies, and series Lovecraftian that we have consumed, and we've been missing that. So we are catching up. So in no particular order, here's a few things we're talking about on our list. Mispatonic, Even Death May Die. What do you think about that, Richard? First off, why don't you explain what that is?
I believe that's the epilogue. It's a double-sized issue of the Miskatonic miniseries, which was kind of this grab bag, motley assortment comic series of Lovecraft characters and stories and that kind of thing that met with mixed reviews back when we were doing these reviews of the pop culture and that type of thing as far as Lovecraftian stuff is concerned. I like this one a little bit better. The Even Death May Die is kind of meant to be kind of like a tie-up that deals with, the obligatory, are they going to awaken Cthulhu or not? So I thought that worked a little better because it seemed to be a little more cohesive than the rest of the comic series, which seemed to be just this kind of let's throw everything Lovecraft reference at the wall that we can, even if it doesn't really serve a purpose, just because someone noted or that I caught that reference, that kind of thing.
It does seem they put more thought into it because it seemed like they were picking on themes of Lovecraft's, having like the Yips and also referencing like Charles Dexter Ward and kind of like the the body of the body being taken over by an alien force.
Right.
And also like the fact that Miranda was also in the body of a deep one.
Right. Who was it?
Tom Malone.
No, who was the character that she had switched bodies with?
Azrathwaite.
Yeah, that's who it was. Okay. As far as like carrying that theme over.
Yeah, so I thought that was quite a fun little thing there.
Yeah, I would have liked the artwork to been a little creepier as far as the art on that. Some of them kind of looked like the various character, the deep ones that they had in there, the deep one human hybrids kind of looked more like Muppets than they did like monsters. So it gave this kind of unintentional humorous tone to where they were being tortured, because it looked like it was like Cookie Monster that was being, tell us where this lost city is.
There is kind of almost like a childlike scrawl with some of like the monsters and all that they did kind of take me out of it, especially when the noses, for something really bothered me about the noses of the creatures. They did look like Muppets. And I don't guess you read that one.
That's one I missed out on. I don't buy as many new comics as you guys do. So I just missed it.
I wouldn't really, like a partial thumbs up as far as it's interesting. Yeah, as like both the comics reader and like a Lovecraft enthusiast, it's interesting, but I was not really something I would push as like, this is a fine example of say like Lovecraft, themed comics or anything like that.
Sure. Yeah, it's not a must read. And the first issue I really loved. Mm-hmm. And I thought it had like a really intriguing premise, and then like it just went downhill after that. And then this is one I've not picked up, but I've seen it advertised. It's a Lovecraft Unknown Kadath, or Kadith, a Blaze adaptation of the Lovecraftian tale of reprinting the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. And have you seen that one?
I've read a 6-page preview of the first issue, and that's as far as because I've been, didn't want to get into another Miskatonic situation.
Yeah.
But it looked, I like, the artwork was really like kind of like moody and ethereal and that kind of thing. As far as because I think there's a dream that he's having as far as like in that preview at least, and then it looked interesting as far as that's concerned. I think probably wait until it gets, because I imagine that's probably a mini series as well that'll get collected up.
Yeah, from what I gather, they're basically adapting the Lovecraft story, but they're adding kind of like the artist's literal interpretation of how things are supposed to look and all that. And so kind of like what they did with like the Conan stories with the Sumerians. And this is a movie I've not seen. I don't know if you've seen it either, Richard, but I know you have. The Resonator, Mispatonic U.
Yes. It's a lot. It's a sort of a continuation of oh God, gone blank.
Was it From Beyond?
From Beyond, yeah, totally. A continuation of From Beyond.
So is it a direct sequel of From Beyond?
It sort of was, I think. It referenced the same people, and Michael Pere shows up in it. He's kind of a bad guy, which wow, that's the first time I've seen Michael Pare in
I
a
hadn't seen him
long
around in a
time.
while.
Yeah, he was a big actor in the 80s.
Yes. And I looked, and the design of the monster I thought was really interesting, or the main monster you see the most of. It sort of looked like a cross between Pinhead and that weird blue opera singer from The Fifth Element. It's just hard to describe, but there was also some sort of sexualized elements to it that I won't go into. But yeah, I thought it was okay for what it was. Probably not filmed in the best quality as far as film or video resolution.
The trailer looked like for me.
Yeah. Sometimes I just watch the trailer, and if it looks like it's that kind of quality video, I'm out.
I
But
couldn't
went
tell
ahead and
from that
watched
if it was like so good, so bad it's good type of enjoyment, or if it was just like low, because you see that a lot with a lot of like Lovecraft theme movies.
Right.
Like they just trade on the name and then like put minimal effort into it.
Well, it's a Charles Band production. The guy did Film Entertainment, so he's always kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah.
You know, it's like some things I really like that he's done. Other things I'm just feel like that he was just like wasting time.
Well, I think they spent everything on the monster effects that they had, and that's not bad. I mean, if you like Lovecraft, if you enjoyed From Beyond, you'll get a kick out of this. Is it going to win an award for great acting or anything? No, but hey, it's fun. It's kind of fun. I wouldn't
get like the CW meets Lovecraft type
Sure.
of thing, as far as which could be entertaining in and of itself, as far as it's beautiful teenagers or whatever trying to defeat Cthulhu.
Right. Yeah.
Defeat Cthulhu.
I'm sure soon enough we will have Archie versus Cthulhu. It'll happen.
Yeah.
So
Give it time. In fact, I'm surprised it hasn't happened already.
Well, it sort of has. I think he showed up in Sabrina, or in one of the episodes.
Wasn't there like a reference in like Afterlife of Archie?
Yeah, there's one in there where she's, he shows up in either Sabrina or in Archie, maybe both. But yeah,
I've seen Resonator referred to as episode 1. Was this supposed to be like were they planning on making more? Did it kind of end in a way where it was supposed like to be an episode 2, or Charles Dexter Ward becomes a student there, and he's like, the new freshman on campus.
I don't recall how the ending left it as far as is there going to be a sequel or not, but I see no reason why there couldn't be a direct sequel to it.
That's what I thought that
right
the Miskatonic U was meant to indicate,
right,
as far as this shared universe of, it's going to be about these students
in
Miskatonic University and all the wacky cosmic horror hijinks they get up to.
That's since there's several things out there that have that Miskatonic U in the title.
Because I'd seen that floating around a lot as opposed to simply the Resonator.
Yeah, when I was like looking it up, I came across Miskatonic, the thing about campus, which is completely unrelated to that show. Is like a web comic by Alexander Bradley.
Oh wow.
And he started in August 29th, 2012, and he just ended it. He hasn't done a new one since, what was it, like, I may have been in my notes, April 28th, 2019, but it kind of ended in a way where you're kind of like going, July 11th, 2022. It's ended in a way, it was kind of just abrupt, it wasn't like a finale.
Well,
it felt like there was going to be something more.
Yeah.
But it's quite a long run, and he has one book collection of it out, and it's basically about like this guy whose first year on Miskatonic University. It takes place during the time of Lovecraft's lifetime, during the 20s and 30s. And I found some copies of the strips, where they're getting off looks like an old trolley, and one friend goes like, "College awaits, Winston. How can you just stand there?" And the other friend's like, looks very bemused or puzzled by something. And he says, like, because we're facing a terrifying realm of the unknown. And then you see these little creatures off to the side. One looks like a 6-legged squid with multiple eyeballs, and one looks like a worm or a snake with a nose for an eye, or eye for a nose, whatever that is. And the one of them goes like, "Who told him?" Amos is like, "I didn't say nothing." And so, that seems to be about the extent of the jokes and all that. And I found it interesting, but I can't say that I, would want to like read that regularly.
Right.
And then next up it'd be Three Keys. Have y'all seen this one? It's an Image comic.
You mentioned something to it about me, and I meant to try and track it down before we did this podcast, but I didn't.
I have the first 2 issues, and unfortunately, I have not gotten around to reading both of them. And of course, the main reason I picked up the first one is there's all these Lovecraftian tentacles on the cover, and so I read what it was about. And like you had said in your notes, hot girl, hot tattooed chick works at a comic store and fights Cthulhu's menus. Hey, I'm in. You know, I'm in. I
That's
just
the elevator pitch.
Yeah.
it's one of those in the to be read pile.
Yeah.
You know, I would definitely. I'm gonna have to get around to it. So
Yeah, the cats of Uthar are very different from like, you know, how Lovecraft interpreted them in his
I'm
stories.
sure they are.
They're more like these like cat people. And it's entertaining. I've been liking it a lot. And I recommend it. Even though I do have problems with kind of the cats of Uthar, you know, just they're
Sure.
not regular cats, but that's something I can live with.
Artistic license, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And then and as a public service, I decided some of the movies I've watched and other people should be avoiding. The deep ones.
Oh God, yes.
You saw that one?
Oh, I didn't finish it, but yeah.
You had warned me about it previously, so I stated it.
Yeah, it was directed by Chad Farron, who we saw the wonderful Exorcism at 60,000 feet.
That's why I avoided it based off Exorcism.
Yeah. He has like really intriguing titles, but they're very dubious quality for his movies. And
the acting is terrible.
if you read interviews of him, he has like a very deep knowledge of film. You know, he's like, he really studies these things, but he's like, he just can't transfer it over to actually having a skill, you know,
like Ed Wood.
Yeah.
For the modern
the
era.
movie in my mind is different
Yeah.
than the one that comes out of the film.
Yes. They just don't work out. You know, he had a lot of like actors from a lot of like old TV shows and movies, you know, to make appearances in it. And he definitely has a love for like, you know, Hollywood old cinema. And but it's just not carried over, you know. He doesn't seem to have the skill to match his enthusiasm.
So you took this one for the team so that nobody else.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. You know, this is a warning.
I think I got about halfway through and I was like, no.
Yeah. And for those who refuse to heed my warning, it's on Tubi, you know, if you want to watch it.
Which is absolutely free if
you've been warned.
Yeah.
Tubi's awesome. There's all kinds of crazy horror movies there.
Yeah. And so it's always great. And then there was another one to warn y'all about, The Last Lovecraft, Relic of Cthulhu. And this is a 2009 horror comedy directed by Harry Sane. I couldn't find much that else he has done, but it's about the last living relative of a noted H.P. Lovecraft. There's an animated segment in about Cthulhu's reign on prehistoric Earth that's really cool. But once it turns live action, it just really goes downhill. And the characters are more annoying than funny. Yeah.
You know, I probably actually saw this in 2009 and I remember kind of liking it, but I don't know. So you're saying it wasn't very good.
Yeah, well, I didn't care for it.
Okay.
But from your vague memories, you liked it. And so
hey, at the time it might have been the best thing on TV that I could find.
Exactly. As far as, at one point, pickings were slim and
that's true.
Yeah. I just
Netflix had just started.
And they were just kind of digging through there, looking through the detritus to try and find something.
Yeah, I just found the character so unbearable that I wonder if humanity would be is a moral decline and be better if the world was cleansed of them, like Cthulhu.
Oh yeah.
I did like Ethan Wilde in the movie. He played Starspawn, and I thought he was a villain, needed a better movie to be in.
Okay.
He was really phenomenal. And another movie that I hated at first, but the more I thought about it, and more liking it more than I thought I would. Shark of the Corn.
Oh.
And
I've only seen the trailer to that.
Yeah, that was this is done by Claude Miles.
Right.
And, who we all know. And it takes place in the fictional Druid Hills, Kentucky. And it's known for its like having a lot of corn there. And there's these sharks that swim through the cornfields and all that and attack people and kill them.
Wow.
And there are a group of people who gather there to try to conjure up, an ancient shark god. And so it's I found it really annoying. There seemed like when there was explosions, the smoke really goes out. I mean, they really spent most of the money on smoke effects.
Okay.
Wow.
For the fair priorities way to get that smoke machine.
Yeah. Well, it was smoke. It was all CGI smoke and all that. Is that?
Right. Does Claude make it through to the end, or does he?
I believe he does. He's like one of the main heroes.
Okay.
He's like protagonist.
Awesome.
And but what's really weird about it is I went to look at IMDb. He's not listed in the film credits.
Yeah.
So I was.
Is he under like a different name or something like that? You see that where some people are say like that they're under their, in a certain movie they were, they're listed as, and it's some kind of variation on their name or something like that.
Well, I don't know if it's his Twitter or his Instagram.
Some kind.
He's called Lord Revco Miles.
Maybe that's what.
And it could, I mean, it was that, I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe that's in there somewhere, but yeah.
Could be.
That's his
But-
actor name.
Yeah, but his band does also the music for it.
Okay.
And so he was fully involved. I don't think he directed it, but he may be like a producer.
Well, that's great.
And
I need to find it and watch it.
yeah, but that was also on
Is
Tubi.
that a Tubi?
Okay.
Yeah, that's also Tubi. To be or not to be.
What's the runtime on that? Because I think
Yeah.
I remember saying as far as
I think it's kind of a standard type of like movie length, like 90 minutes.
Okay.
You know, it's not like Avatar length or anything like that. You know?
No 3D.
Yeah, no.
yeah, that would be cool though for
Yeah,
a land shark movie is to a 3D effect.
yeah, and have like, especially with the smoke coming out and all
Yeah.
that, and like knocking
The
people
way you
over.
said that, it makes land shark. Land shark. Does that come up at any time? Does anybody say that?
I don't think anyone ever said that in there.
Okay.
And but some of the effects are like really hokey because I had like this drone go over and you could like see the scenes where like the shark are swimming through the cornfield,
Mhm.
and it looks like a video game from the 80s type of thing. And I think this is a movie we've all seen, Deep House.
Oh yeah.
And,
Yeah, I loved Deep House.
I thought it was
Yeah.
great.
yeah, it's a French supernatural horror film. Basically, takes place underwater. They find a haunted house that's underwater.
Yes.
That's like, and there actually are underwater. It's not like CGI effects or anything like that.
Right.
So that really adds to the claustrophobia of the movie.
Yes.
And
Yeah, as a scuba diver, as far as that they really nailed in terms of the claustrophobia of they like foolishly going into an enclosed environment. They're like, well, let's just poke our head in here, and then like, oh, my air's running out, and now I can't get out of here.
yeah.
Because of the fact, yeah, they get into there, and then as far as like, oh, the way that we came isn't there anymore. So then you're kind of like, oh, okay, got that on top of whatever else might be going on in this.
Yeah. Well,
you're on a very limited time in which to find your way out of here.
right. And there's a creepy guy out on the shore that you just know that something bad's
I
gonna
love it
happen.
because he leads them there, and then under his breath mutters, in his house, dead Cthulhu lies dreaming.
Right, yeah,
And
nothing.
she says, "Hey, what'd you say? Nothing."
Yeah, nothing bad's gonna happen. here.
I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, like you said, Mark, not typical haunted house movies set underwater with a Lovecraftian twist to it. Yeah, it had it all. Pushed the buttons for me anyway. So
Yeah, definitely the threats felt real in that one. And as a scuba diver, Richard, so was there anything in that you saw and go like,
stuff that was kind of like no, but I'm like no, they're doing this for dramatic effect. That's fine.
Okay.
As far as things that you see, that as far as these big CGI readings saying like oxygen at 2%, I'm like, well, nobody. No. That's so that the person that's the viewer can see that and go like, oh, they got a problem.
yeah,
anyway, water related? There was the pond. I've not seen that one, so tell me what that was about.
That's really good. It's a Serbian cosmic horror film. It had a lot of like the feel I got from it was a lot of like Jacob's Ladder or Wicker Man, like a Jacob's Ladder meets Wicker Man type of thing. Because it's said as far as this anthropology professor gets fired from his university for being a little out there with his theories, and goes to this this island with a very like small village as far as that type of thing, and he's writing about his theories on this and that and the other, and there's not a lot of effects to it, very low budget, but a lot of it just becomes as far as that he's starting to realize that what we see is the reality isn't real, and that's basically we're already in hell, and this is a pantomime, that's just to torment us and that kind of thing. So people that he sees that are just interacting with him and trying to like play chess with him or that type of thing, all of it had this sinister bent of like, are they real people or are they, demons of some kind trying to torment him?
Had you seen it?
And it has a real catchy, folky cosmic horror song that people repeat throughout the.
I did
put that. Yeah,
I did find it, look it up, and I may have actually seen the first few minutes of it because that rings a bell about the professor talking about some kooky stuff at the beginning.
Yeah, because everyone starts like, "Oh, you're crazy," and but then as the movie gets on and things start getting a little weirder, as far as like, "Oh, maybe he's onto something."
Yeah.
But don't expect a lot of, and then this beast rose from the pond or anything like that. There's nothing like that going on in there.
Yeah. You got me with Jacob's Ladder. That's always been one
because of the in terms of just trying to figure out, is this a person who's just has some mental issues, or is there something else more supernatural going on here?
Right now, this is a series. I have not seen it. The Rig on Amazon. And so, what's that one about?
Set out I think it's in the like out in the near the Russian Arctic Circle. A couple of oil rigs get enclosed by this big fog bank, and weird things start to happen. They can't get the boat there that's supposed to take them home. There's some sort of disease that starts affecting some of the guys on the ship. One of them who's badly injured with like really horrible, gruesome injuries. He's got this disease or this spore, this whatever it is in his body, and he's miraculously completely healed and almost like Superman after that. It's very Lovecraftian, got a lot of cosmic horror feel to it, a little bit of the claustrophobia. But it's a straightforward drama, but it has those supernatural elements to it. So
I really like that as far as because I punched through it last week after you had mentioned it.
Yeah,
it's only like 6 episodes, and
right.
It was really good.
And obviously they're planning on continuing it.
I would assume so. Based off of that ending.
But anyway, these days you never know. But of course, it's got the guy from Game of Thrones that played Jorah Mormont, and then the other guy that was the
I think was what Commander of the Night's Watch.
Commander of the Night's Watch. Yeah.
And you got the babe from Schitt's Creek.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I did not recognize her
in a very straightforward, non-eccentric role.
Right.
Because I've seen her in stuff like 12 Monkeys and Schitt's Creek, where she's these big characters, and here she's meant to be just I'm trying to make sure we all get out of here in one piece. Come on, guys, settle down, like that situation.
I had no idea that was her until you guys told me later. So I completely missed that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the pictures of her, you would not realize it was her because I mean, she seems so straight laced. You almost feel like maybe it was her older sister or something playing in there.
Well, she's meant to be. Yeah, she's kind of at management, and so she's at odds with the people working on the rig because they're like, "Oh, you're here to just shut us down or take our jobs and that kind of thing." And then so there's already that distrust when things start going bad between them.
I often feel like a lot of the TV shows hire somebody from Game of Thrones. They feel it adds legitimacy to their program and all that, you know.
Charles Dance has built a new career on it.
Yeah. Yeah, he just shows up and does it all. I remember there was like Krypton.
Yeah.
You know, they had one of the actors from Game of Thrones on there to play was it Jor-El's father?
Jor-El's father, yeah, the grandfather or whatever. Yeah, I know who you're talking about, but I can't remember the guy's name.
He was like a really important knight during his heyday,
right?
And he got dismissed by Joffrey, and I think they joined in the Mother Dragons.
Yes.
I can't remember what his name was in that one.
But he was the head of the King's Guard until Joffrey got rid of him and he sent him away.
Yeah, but he was like still had a few life in him, you know, it's all that.
I'm not dead yet.
Yes, all that. And the next one in our list is All Eyes, and I wasn't familiar with this one till y'all mentioned it, and this was like I first thought you said it was a podcast, but it's not that, is it?
No, it's about a podcaster,
right?
In terms of it's about as far as like somebody comes on his show basically as far as and then commits this big attention-getting horrific crime while on the podcast, and then as a result, everyone blames him for like this is your fault, so he's disgraced, and then it's about his attempt to like getting his career back on track after that with this what is it? The farmer that was saying as far as that his wife was a big fan of this guy's show and she died, and he never liked him or watched him or anything like that. But he said like, "Oh, I've got a story for you," and claims that there's a monster that's in the woods, like back behind his farm.
And they sit in chairs or something and like look at it or something, wait for it. And the logo reminded me of Stranger Things when I saw it. It has kind of that 80s type of
that Carpenter, they synthy, type of that type logo going on to it. Yeah.
All that. So it's worth watching.
Yeah, I really liked it. That was really good. It definitely zigged where I thought it was zag at certain times in terms of what was happening to characters or what was going to happen to them or that kind of thing, where it caught me off guard.
And while on the subject of Stranger Things, season 4 came out.
Yes,
I avoided the 3rd season because I didn't care for the 2nd one, but I heard really good things about the 4th one, so I had to watch that. And so, what y'all think of it?
It definitely got back on track after the weird turns of the 3rd season.
Yeah, I thought because the 3rd season was just more of the same stuff from 1 and 2.
Yeah, that whole thing where 11, and I guess it's in season 3, 11 runs off and joins the circus or whatever. That's the circus of other people like her. I
That
just
was
street
that was
gang
the-
of other
yeah, that was the second season when that happened.
was
It was
it?
the end
Yeah,
of the
'cause
second
I didn't
season,
watch the-
and then they never followed up on it again. As far as hey,
Yeah.
are there all these
Yeah.
other kids and like
That kind of lost
yeah,
me.
whatever. They were here for an episode.
Yeah, they had all that angsty teen thing going on, and
Yeah, I thought
so-
there'd be made more of them and all that, but it was kind of like, like at least a spinoff or something. But you
that
didn't
was
do
the third season was
The third season was the Russians
mall.
under the mall. And
Yeah,
then that
okay,
was just kind
yeah.
of this, and then a lot of the everybody's bickering about paired everybody up into romantic pairings, and then we're bickering about I thought he was going to ask me to the dance and all that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I liked some of the touches I liked in it was like, the Dungeons and Dragons scare,
Mhm.
that it was like
the
responsible
Satanic
from
Panic,
yeah.
That's
You know.
very on point.
Yeah, and
Satanic Panic.
yeah. And Eddie Munson, I think he was definitely one of my favorite characters.
Definitely.
They broke my heart with that.
Yeah. And I think
My
one,
boy.
No,
What did you do to my boy?
the metalhead. No, he can't die.
I think one of the best scenes is when he's playing the guitar, the draw, like those creatures.
Yes. Yeah, the
Mhm.
Master of Puppet scene was
Yes.
the highlight. That was the real season finale.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I think of all the weirdness that happened, I still have the hardest time believing Winona Ryder and David Harbour to still be at Gulag. They seemed like it was like the hardest, to accept. That this seemed like an awfully like convenient storyline.
I think it was just to give them something to do, and because of so much of that, when your cast expand that big, then you're finding things for like, oh, we've got this guy. Our option is either write him off the show or find something for him to do.
Yeah.
And well, that's what they did even with like some of the kids with that little road trip they took to save 11. To where
Yep.
like, okay, this was come on, get to it.
Mhm.
And that new kid that's like the pizza guy.
Yeah,
where did he
comic
come
relief,
from?
you know?
Yeah.
Like, yes,
But-
I understand that you're comic relief.
Yeah, but I mean, David Harbour's career blew up after Stranger Things, so they got to keep him in there somehow. They can't just get rid of.
I did
Hopper.
like the touch of him using Schwarzenegger's Conan sword, at least for the scene in the Gulag as far as that goes, because I recognized that right away.
Yeah.
All right, this whole diversion was worth it for that.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't say I hate it. I just find it a little hard, almost a little hard to
just
believe.
It's to give the grown-ups something to do.
Yeah, they'd go all the way to Alaska, and then all of a sudden they end up in Russia, and it just seemed like it's just like they were trying to like stretch it.
Yeah.
And next on the list is Sound from the Deep,
Mm.
which is a sequel to Sound of Music. No, never mind. It was a
Went
29-minute
a different direction.
Finnish movie, which was definitely they packed a lot into the 29 minutes.
Yes.
Into there, and it had very echoes of like kind of Cthulhu and At the Mountains of Madness, as they pick up these underwater sounds from the Arctic Ocean
Mhm.
and decide to follow it. And I thought that was really good for 29 minutes.
Yes.
It's like
Where's that? Is that on?
It's on YouTube.
YouTube.
Oh, I'm checking.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, definitely. It's really it's great.
yeah, it's real worth it. Very good. And we got to talk about Cabinet of Curiosity.
Right.
They came out on Netflix. What are y'all's thoughts on it?
Hit or miss.
Yeah, it was a mixed bag. I think I set my expectations too high because I was just so glad that Guillermo del Toro was getting back into horror again and like
Yes.
doing something as opposed to he'd been producing all these kids animated shows. I'm like, that's not where your strength is. Why you need to be back into horror.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of excitement when it first was announced it was going to be happening. And then there was a lot of disappointment when it actually was.
Yeah, the
screening.
non-Lovecraft adaptations were the stronger entries.
Yes.
Like the Pickman's Model and what is it, Dreams in the Witch House, I thought were two of the weaker ones.
Yeah.
And then other ones like what's the second to last one that the director of Mandy did?
Oh, I can't remember the name of it from time, but that was really wild.
Yeah, the one that with that Peter Weller was like the lead in.
Yeah, it's like going to that really weird
The
mansion.
Viewing.
Oh yeah, the viewing. Yeah.
The Viewing,
I just saw it.
yeah, that one I really love that
Mhm.
one. And then as for I'm trying to think as far as the second one, was it Cemeteries?
Graveyard Rats.
Graveyard Rats. Yeah, Graveyard Rats. I really liked that one.
I enjoyed the first one also. I thought it was really the pacing was good and it
Which
just
one
kept
was
it
the
kept
first
going.
That was the one that had the racists. Who was?
Yeah,
I can't remember who played the racists.
Oh God, it's
Oh yeah. About
is it Tim Blake Nelson?
Yeah, Tim Blake
yeah,
Nelson.
The
Yes.
Storage Wars pit thing. as
Yeah,
far as-
Yeah.
where they're getting it. Yeah, that was really I enjoyed that one. That was really good.
And I did like the Autopsy based on Michael
Yes,
Shea's
yeah, that
story.
was,
Yes.
the F. Murray Abraham one was really good.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And I know Sam, our buddy, did not like the one with the guy from Walking Dead, the one about the starlings.
Mhm.
That was just
The
kind of
memoration.
bland.
Yeah,
Because
it was
ended
out of
with that,
place.
and that was just kind of bland as
Yes.
far as it had this kind of feeling of like that the other Crimson Peak, where it was kind of like a horror romance.
Mhm.
So that was what it felt like, this horror love story about these two people getting back together again with
Mhm.
some supernatural stuff in the background. And
Yeah.
well, that's not really the one you end on, like to stick the landing as far as
Yeah, they could have traded that out with something else. Made it earlier. I don't know.
Yeah. I liked aspects of Pickman's model because it had that feel of like when somebody takes a short story and then wants to make a movie out of it, so they pad it with the narrator needs to have a backstory and a name and a family and all this business. And anything with Crispin Glover in it, I'm going to at least give like, oh well, at least there was that part. But
I thought he was very inspired as
yeah,
Hickman. I thought he was really
He was
good.
really good. But as far as the things that they added, I kind of felt like they didn't really need to be there. As far as if you only need to be 30 minutes, then just do 30 minutes.
Yeah, I felt a lot of stuff that was in there was like unnecessary, and it was just really more of a distraction. It was like they needed something, and so they decided to throw in some really weird.
Well, yeah, to get a runtime of 60 minutes, I'm like, well, are you required to do that? Or if your content that you're doing only needs to be 30 minutes, then just do that.
But I do say I like Pickman's model better than I did Dreams in the Witch House.
The Dreams in the Witch House, I was real disappointed in. And I compare it to what there was it may have been a Showtime anthology. There was another Dreams in the Witch House that was released.
Yeah, Masters of
Horror.
Horror. That's it. Yeah. And I thought that one was pretty good. It did a really good job. It at least tried to keep the story a little bit more under control. But yeah, it went off the rails.
Well, they stretched it so much out of it was unrecognizable, really, in terms of the amount of stuff that got changed. Where at that point they're like, okay, don't pretend that that's what you're adapting.
If I remember correctly, Stuart Gordon directed that one.
I think you're right.
And so he definitely has his Lovecraft creed. And so, but I do remember liking that one a lot. It wasn't a great movie, but I enjoyed it.
Right, and it was fairly short. It might have been an hour maybe. So they didn't try to draw anything out necessarily. There's a little bit more sex than you might expect
like that, because there were some good. I would need to revisit that at some point. Masters of Horror had some really good stuff in there. It's with a lot of good people doing some really good stuff.
Yeah, they had like Joe Dante did some very interesting things.
Yeah,
I think John Carpenter was one.
Yeah, he did. He may have done two. I remember there was Cigarette Burns. He did. I can't remember what the other one was.
Clive Barker did one too, and I'm trying to remember what it was.
I must have missed that one.
Yeah, but I haven't seen any of those in forever. And they're all running together now.
Yeah,
I think the one Joe Dante did, it was kind of like there was politician was like talking about like like if we got to we got to vote like for our soldiers' sake and all that, or like and all the dead soldiers come back from the dead and decide to vote in the next election.
And so it becomes a zombie movie.
Yeah, it's like it's with anything with Joe Dante, usually it's always some type of social message, the stuff he does. And while on the related subject, you mentioned about you like Love, Death, and Robots much better than Cabinet Curiosity, David Fincher's project.
Yeah, because at the end with that one, as far as those, the runtime on those is as long as the creator wants them to be. Right. And some of those could be like 10 minutes or something like that. It's just kind of like, here's a little idea I've got, and this is the length that it needs to be. And then some of them are 30 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour, that kind of thing. I don't think too many of them are like that. But as far as what was the name of the Lovecraft themed, the Lovecraft-ish one that was in there?
In the Vaulted Halls.
Yeah. That had that very space, Event Horizon-y, like cosmic horror, like that type of thing. And I really enjoyed that one. And I thought that was, despite it not being really adapted from a particular, like we're doing a straight adaptation of a Lovecraft story, it had that feel to it.
I've often felt that a lot of times the best Lovecraft stories are those that are not even adapted from his stories.
Yeah. Where someone's just doing their own, as far as like, oh, I'm inspired by this, or I'm going to use an element of it here.
Yeah, because I remember like people bragged about John Carpenter's At the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah, which feels like, as far as it feels very Lovecraftian, but isn't really, oh, this is meant to be, this character or this story or this, creature or something like that.
I really enjoyed that. I guess I've watched it about 3 times, and I think the only thing wrong with it is just how much more I want, how much it leaves you wanting at the end. I want more of this.
That's a good thing. Versus it being something that's like, that's too many episodes. Runtime's too long. 2 hours, you didn't have 30 minutes, much less 2 hours. Like
it may be, for me, that may be the very best Lovecraft show, movie, whatever you want to call it, I've ever seen. So maybe it's the best ever so far.
What about Underwater?
it's good, but it's, I mean, that other,
so much of Underwater is more about them trying to get out of that station, and that's just your standard disaster movie type of
it is a haunted house
sinking,
movie,
you know, like that.
with that different twist that it's actually underwater. So
gotcha. Okay. All right. And this one, the movie has not been released yet, but I think we've all seen the trailers for it, Dreamlands. And it's directed by Huan Vu, who did an adaptation of the Color Out of Space. He did the German version, was called Die Fiber.
Yes.
And which is a really good adaptation for it. And this one is just the trailer Dreamlands, and I think he's like raising enough money to hopefully do the whole movie.
Okay. I don't know if I've seen the trailer.
I saw the trailer for it, but I thought it didn't realize that it was what you're talking about as far as like, oh, I'm throwing this trailer out here to hope to get a Kickstarter going and get the movie going. I assumed it was your standard.
Yeah, I did
coming later this year type of situation.
I did too at first, and they don't believe it won't be coming out to 2025.
Oh wow,
and all that, so it'd be a while. And
get it right.
You got to hold their horses on that.
Yeah, so it definitely looks it looks intriguing, and he did a good job with the Die Farber that I would definitely want to check this one out. And this one's gonna be in color too. And Die Farber was not, which I thought would work really well for like the Color Out of Space, because you're supposed to have this indescribable color.
Right.
But when the color shows up, they actually colorize that part right there.
Yeah.
And so I wish they had not done that. But oh well. Let's see. Black Mountainside. I don't think I've seen this. This is something y'all were talking about.
Yeah, that was
what was that one?
That was really good.
Group of friends out camping in the woods, or are they
no, Black Mountainside is the archaeology.
Yeah, okay.
They're in like the Canadian, like deep like Canadian, like wilderness, like deep forest, you know, and it's the snow and that type of thing, where they're kind of like remote from everybody, but it's not where they're camping. They've got like cabins and stuff. It's just that they're doing a dig there, and of course, surprise, you find something that's really old that's not supposed to be there. And then as far as that, okay, is this cabin fever that's affecting these guys, or is there something more sinister and supernatural that's causing them to act violent and turn on each other and that kind of thing?
I've heard described as a creepy love letter to John Carpenter's The Thing.
Yeah. But it doesn't. Don't go into a thing you're going to get a bunch of creature effects, because it feels more like The Pond, where it's more about as far that okay, there's something off here, and it's more about the isolation. Because The Pond, we didn't have any like the Arctic stuff, but this is very much has that kind of that's the stillness of this kind of like deep snowy woods at night, and then them trying to figure is there something out there, or is it somebody else that's supposed to be my friend that's creeping into my cabin at night to do me in.
Yeah, they're looking at each other like they get in the thing and saying, "Oh,
yeah,
maybe he's the one."
Around as far as he's like, "No, you're trying to kill me." Because there's the guy who goes, "How many? As long as it's been since you've eaten, I don't know, a couple of days. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. Why don't you just get out the way you came?"
So does this have kind of like almost like a realistic feel to it, like something can actually happen?
Yeah. Because it's then just as far as a body shows up, and it's like, well, we're the only guys here, so one of us did this, and then it just gets worse from there. Like that.
Okay, and then next up is Ritual. We'll talk about both the movie and the book. I think one of y'all like the movie better than the book, and vice versa for the other.
Oh, I haven't finished the book yet. I just started reading the book last week.
Or maybe I should say the book has more Lovecraftian elements in the movie.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I enjoyed the movie and the book, and both in sort of different ways. But the movie, of course, it truncates and telescopes some of the issues out of the book, but it does a great job of capturing most of the story, just as the book told it.
So, what is that one about?
This one is a group of friends
there it is.
going camping out in the what is it, the Norwegian wilderness, or the Swedish?
The Swedish forest.
Swedish forest.
A bunch of UK guys that are going as far as like your urban types or whatever. That it's going to like an adventure. So one of them gets injured, and they're like, "Oh, it's going to take us, days to get him back," but they can look across this when they're on a really high peak up above. They can look across and see the place they need to get to is across the forest, and they end up going into this forest, and they encounter this creature that just, you don't see any details of it. It just, it's there. Somebody's dead suddenly, and then it's gone, or it jerks them up, and next thing you know, they find them hanging in a tree with, and eventually they do come upon, the ones that are left come upon a black house or cabin in the middle of the woods, and it's the people that live there are some sort of cultish people that worship this beast that's killed everybody. And the guy that they finally end up
the last guy in the group that ends up there, they're going to sacrifice him to the beast, and he ends up getting away. And I won't give away the ending, but he kind of takes care of the cult on his own. The main difference between the book is that there's a lot more, of course, backstory to the main characters. There's a lot more detail to their trek through the woods, and there's a lot more detail about the people that are in the house that you don't get at all from the movie. The movie these are just some generic cultists out in the woods that are going to sacrifice into this creature. So I mean, both of them have I enjoyed the book and I enjoyed the movie, so I mean, I think they're both worth a listen, a read or a watch or listen or whatever.
Yeah, but about halfway through I've got to like the halfway point on the audiobook as far as we got to where things are getting bad for our group of campers.
Yeah, there's a spot in the middle somewhere in there that I felt like it kind of hit a lull. But then once they get to that cabin, things are weird.
Yeah, they're arguing like, guys, you need to quit arguing with each other.
Yeah,
I've seen the movie. I know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
One of the reviews I read for us is the most disappointing kind of bad horror movie, the kind that's too smart to be this dumb. Do you feel that's like accurate?
That's a weird review. It's too smart to be this dumb. No,
you need to back that up with what you're,
it's a better than
give me cite you what you're trying to, like, because there was nothing about the movie, at least, that I felt that was like, oh, the obligatory, they go left when they should have gone right, or that kind of thing, as far as they behave like they normally would, or like anybody would have, really, as far as that goes.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think it's an above average movie, a horror movie, whatever you want to call it, whatever category you want to put it in. But it's well done, it's well made, it's well acted. Like Richard said, I didn't see any just big guffaws that got everybody
right. He should have left, but he stupidly came back, and nobody would have done that kind of thing that people complain about.
Like the times that people go up the stairs when they shouldn't be going up the stairs and stuff,
right?
Like that.
As far as you're fleeing the house, you go upstairs. Like, no, you go at the front door,
right?
Or a window or something.
And I think you've read this one, Richard. My Work Is Not Yet Done by Thomas Ligotti.
Yeah, that was really, really good. It's not too many of his are they're more like novellas and short stories and that type of thing, which I think is what we were talking before about length not being indicative of like quality of something, where he just kind of got this is the story I want to tell, and maybe it's 100 some pages versus say 400 or something like that. That one has kind of like I saw somewhere it was it American Psycho meets Lovecraft, because it's set like in a corporate setting, and the guy gets like the office politics force him out of his job, and he makes a deal with some supernatural entity to like get his disgruntled employee revenge. And less of the American Psycho stuff, but it's more just about the banality of like corporate and office politics and that type of thing. And then the parallel of it, as far as like, this is the hell that humans have created for themselves here, versus the one that's waiting for you on the other side of things. It is not a feel good novel at all, but it was really, really good. I really liked it.
You seem to enjoy not feel good type of stories.
Well, this is because it's with some of those, you get that revenge catharsis, like, these guys are getting what they deserve, but that's what this feels like when it starts, and not really where it ends. And so it gets a lot darker than because you think of those types of movies, it's its own genre, the revenge thriller of these guys are going to get what they have coming, and that was how it presents itself at the beginning, at least, but it kind of goes in a different direction.
Yeah, and I've not read anything by Thomas Ligotti, but I hear his name revered quite a bit.
He gets even Joshi, has a note at the beginning of that book where he compares him to Lovecraft, as far as like, he has a very feel of that kind of the bleakness of the cosmic horror, and that if there's something waiting for us on the other side, we're either prey or we're insignificant to it. And that he's got a lot of that, to a lot of his stories, as far as that's concerned.
And he's quite reclusive. I thought about trying to get him on the show, but I don't know how. We'll get in touch with him.
It was I don't think we're going to be able to get him.
Yeah,
because he's like,
it'd be like getting Steve Ditko.
Well, especially now, but
a few years ago.
All right, and this is a podcast, The Old Gods of Appalachian,
right?
And so, tell me about it.
I loved the first season, and I've kind of fallen off the wagon. I need to go back and pick it up at season 2.
I think you've seen.
I've listened to season 2 and 3, and a lot of it, what they've got going on is there's a lot of world building and character building going on. And the most recent thing they did was kind of a thing where they brought everybody, these characters together and had them like duke it out and that kind of thing
Mhm.
to set the stage for like another season. But they had a standalone episode that made me think of again all the D&D stuff and Stranger Things, because there's a character in there, this boy whose preacher father abuses him and that type of thing, is going to, I'm going to beat the devil out of you and that type of thing. And while he's doing that, he then invokes one of these eldritch character, or like supernatural creatures that are in there basically as, to help him. And then there's a bit where his friends that played D&D with him came to the school or whatever like that, and they hadn't seen him in a while, and then he's there like as the DM, but in this very kind of like horrific, like, oh, he's got the hat on, and and he's rolling these big dice and that type of thing, and it's this nightmarish D&D session that he puts him through in the school, which I thought was like, oh, that's really cool, which is a kind of a departure from the main story that they were doing.
Is that the one called School Spirit or something?
Yeah. As far as that goes, where it's kind of like, they're trapped in kind of a nightmarish D&D session in their high school.
D&D in the Appalachian? Does that happen?
Apparently so.
Yes, yeah.
You got to find something to
pass I've listened to the first season. I really liked it, and it seemed like it took a while for the next season to come up. So I kind of like it went off my radar, and I definitely at least check out School Spirit. And this is a movie that I didn't really care for, but I thought I'd add on here anyway. Devil Below, about amateur adventurers who specialize in exploring remote and forsaken places, decide to visit Sokum Hills, the town in remote Appalachian Mountains, unrelated theme there, which has been abandoned decades ago by a mysterious coal mine fire. And there's like these Lovecraftian creatures they encounter, and you seem to almost like get a sense there's like the gate of hell is like, there. And it was disappointing, but it does seem to have its fans. A lot of people seem to really like that movie. And,
it was a solid 2.5 stars. In terms of, it wasn't like terrible, but at the same time, I just kind of felt it's like, oh well. Okay.
Once they got down in the mines, there was a little bit more excitement to it, but the lead up to that was a little bit dull.
Yeah, seemed like it took forever to get to the point, and then we got to the point, it was over basically.
And you almost had kind of the alien mother from Aliens? You almost had that scene repeated in a way, because there's not. I don't want to give anything away, but there's some weirdness.
Yeah, so you've been warned. You can be better not, folks.
So some body horror. Just keep in mind.
Yeah, and then something radically different here was a video I think you posted, David, on one of our feeds, about Cthulhu's Corner ASMR.
Oh yeah,
Ethereal Riff. Basically, kind of like these talking really soft, like making nice, pleasing sounds, and the guy who's doing this claims to be Cthulhu, running a bookstore, and all that. And he's like talking like this, and I hope you enjoyed this. And he has like some type of bone or turtle shell, and he's like making sounds on it and all that, and
soothing sounds of this and that.
Yeah, and he's like
soothing sounds of skulls rattling.
Yeah, so it's a very interesting. He was reading also from Call of Cthulhu for Beginners, which has almost like a Dr. Seuss like cover to it.
Oh, nice.
And that was very interesting. And he does like a whole bunch of these, like a whole series of these things.
Was it the Call of Cthulhu, the one that is meant to be like the Seuss parody? Because that's really well done. As far as there's one of those, and then there's the Dagon, but then the guy who did him didn't make any more.
I got him from Cthulhu is out there somewhere.
Yeah, that's a different, because that's for like a younger age. The other ones that are done, and they're done in the same scheme, like the rhyming scheme that Seuss would have done, but it's all the Lovecraft stuff.
Yeah,
even the art style is like really well done. And so then you have to make more of these.
Yeah,
Need more of these in my life.
Gets you around out of ideas. And jumping back to comic books, Rick and Morty versus Cthulhu. And this was got released starting late last year, and it's still ongoing. It's a miniseries, and the household of Rick and Morty's is suffering from pulp horror infection, and they must travel to the Lovecraft dimension to stop this self-loathing, racist cosmic horror claptrap at its source.
Is this finally, because in the opening credit sequence, it shows a Cthulhu-ish creature like chasing them, but that I don't think that ever has been in like any of the actual episodes. Is this actually rear its head here? As far
not yet. They have to start from the lower levels. They start off like Innsmouth, and I think where they go the second issues, Dunwich. I think they went Dunwich in the second issue, and they haven't done the third one yet. And they're working their way up, to Cthulhu, and so it's like
that's the last issue.
Yeah, and they do like little recaps of what the actual stories are about. So I guess like for those who haven't read it, have a little bit of an idea of what they're poking fun of, and I really like it, except for the fact that I think they kind of beat over your head, that Lovecraft is a racist, and it's like,
Yeah,
okay,
that's-
we already
that's
knew
not
that.
necessary. as
Yeah.
far as,
You know, it's like
that's a one joke premise.
it's like after a point, it's like let's get on and move on into the story. And then this hasn't come out yet, but it's like the Doom that came to Gotham.
Oh, I'm looking forward to
Yes.
that because if the comic's been out for a while, came
Mhm.
out in the early 2000s, and is one of the best of those Elseworlds. Hey, let's put Batman and Superman in somewhere else, such as like Gotham by Gaslight, and as far as where he fights, Jack the Ripper, the Batman versus Cthulhu
Mhm.
was so well done, and they had like the perfect guy, Mike Mignola, to do that because he has such a grasp of Lovecraft stuff and of Batman mythos and merged them seamlessly together. As far as, let's say, if Ra's al Ghul be there, Abdul Halrazad, and he writes the Necronomicon, and
Wow.
and so much cool stuff like that in there. And it was also thankfully free of Joker and Harley Quinn, as far as it's got all the other Batman characters, but doesn't have, and here's the Joker as Cthulhu or some nonsense like that. It was just so well done, and the trailer for it looks like a little cleaner and like not as horror-y,
Mhm.
but because of that art style.
Yeah.
But we'll see what
The
happens.
trailer does look good.
Yeah, the trailer does look like enticing as far as that goes.
Does it have Mangioni's type of style artwork to it?
No, not at all.
That's the well, that's the problem with the Gotham by Gaslight adaptation, was that it had very much like a moody, horror-y aesthetic to the comic, and then the art style, but then the animation style was just the standard stuff they do every single movie, like regardless of what the tone is. The Constantine movie and the Justice League art, where they had that same bright Saturday morning cartoony, and I'm like, you've got to stop doing this, guys. And this one does too, as far as everything's bright and big, and like, no, it can be dark and moody and spooky.
That was a problem I had with Gotham by Gaslight. Their interpretation
and I'm
of it.
concerned, but if that's the only issue there, then hopefully that will,
if they get the story right.
they don't change anything. But it looks from the trailer as far as like, oh, there's there's this and there's that, okay, I see them all in here.
Yeah, I look forward to it.
Keep an eye out for Killer Croc as one of the deep ones. Which I thought was an inspired choice.
Yeah, that definitely would make sense. I'm glad that they're restraining on the Joker, because it seems like the Joker's been oversaturated.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about it, is because there was no space for him really, as far as there was no or use in terms of that goes. But almost all of the other ones, even as far as like all the, you've got Commissioner Gordon and all the little Robins and all that type of thing. They find uses for all of them in there. As far as the comic is concerned, who knows in terms of what might get added into the movie.
Yeah, and this is an old show. It came out during the 70s, and but I've been seeing a lot of renewed interest in it just because of a lot of the Lovecraft elements in it. Night Gallery, which was Rod Serling's anthology after he did Twilight Zone, and he had a lot of Lovecraft related type stories. He had like was there two that he adapted? It was like Cool Air and Pickman's Model, and his Pickman's Model was a little more faithful to the book. They kind of changed the narrator to a female and kind of made more of a love story. And I thought that worked a lot better, especially, compared to the Cabinet of Curiosity version. And I'm not crazy about the monster. I guess one of the things I hate about a lot of those adaptations, they actually show you the monster. And to me, the power of it is you don't actually see the monster.
Yeah, you would an idea in your head versus, and here's the monster, like, man.
Right.
Maybe you should have, just left it to the imagination.
Yeah. And they did the same thing with Cool Air too, where they made it into more of a love story. And I thought that worked pretty well. And then there was one where it was called Miss Lovecraft Sent Me, which really doesn't have anything to do with Lovecraft, but it was just kind of a little funny story about like this babysitter sent to like this haunted mansion, that's like, has like Dracula, that's in it. And they had but probably one of the best ones they did was Professor Peabody's last lecture, where Carl Reiner's reciting from the encyclopedia in the classroom. And that's quite funny. And
see, that's the one I've seen. I'm trying to think of like the Night Gallery, and I've seen that one, but then some of the other ones that were Lovecraftian themed, I don't think I've seen any of those.
And then there was they did some of the part of Lovecraft's Circle. It was like Clark Ashton Smith had one of his stories adapted. The Return of the Sorcerer had Vincent Price and Bill Bixby.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So and I've heard mixed reviews of it. I've not read Return of the Sorcerer, so I can't really like compare it to how it was to the story.
It's fidelity to the original.
Yeah, but it's like as far as the episode was, I found it entertaining. And then there was Lagoda's Head, which is the August Strollo story adapted by Robert Bloch. And that was terrible. I'm just gonna say it, you know.
Let's not mince words.
Yeah. Why be polite? You know, it was really dumb. And August Derleth, I always I'm kind of iffy with his stories anyway, especially with his Lovecraftian type stories. But this one didn't have anything to do with Lovecraft. He was just kind of like, you know, a voodoo doctor type of thing with shrunken heads and not very good. And I'm not sure why they picked that one of them all, but maybe Robert Bloch liked it. And let me see. And then there are actually some new books by Lovecraft, you know, stuff that he's written that never been released before. Yes. His letters, they've been reprinting his letters and they're getting close to wrapping them up. His miscellaneous letters have just come out. And that one has his correspondence to Houdini. And the only surviving letter to his wife actually was a postcard, if I remember correctly. And there's also a letter exchange that appeared in a newspaper between him and Orville Leach, which kind of like ran in the Providence Science Sunday Journal. Lovecraft was debating the scientific credentials of this Orville Leach and some of the stuff that he was saying. And so, you know, they had an interesting little debate in there. And then the next volume is Woodburn Harris. He's little known in the Lovecraft circle, and they don't know really much about him. But he does have distinction of receiving the longest known letter Lovecraft ever wrote. Guess how many pages it was?
I shudder to think.
Yeah. Any guess?
30 pages.
Yeah. You agree with that one?
I think more than that.
Yeah. Probably 70.
Wow.
Yeah, 70 pages.
Very, very prolific letter writer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They say that Lovecraft wrote more letters than anyone else aside from Voltaire. But I looked up Voltaire and they said he only wrote 15,000 letters. And they say that Lovecraft wrote 100,000 letters. So I'm thinking Lovecraft has Voltaire beat quite considerably.
Think about all the muscles in that arm that that he
Yeah.
used to write with. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they estimate he wrote like 15 letters a day. You
Wow.
know? Yeah.
No wonder he was broke. It was all the postage.
Yeah. And there are 2 more volumes of letters that are going to be coming out. The letters to Hyman Brokowski and others, which is going to cover his amateur journalism period, and which should include letters from Helms Spink, who he knew in Louisville, Kentucky. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing that one. And the last one should be the letters to Frank Belknap Long, and that was probably the closest Lovecraft ever had to a best friend. They did a lot of stuff together, and Belknap Long wrote a lot of stories of him. In fact, he's the first writer to ever incorporate the Cthulhu mythos into his stories.
Oh, okay.
And then I guess on a final note, we'll talk about Lloyd Alicious. What do y'all think about the theme song? Our end credits. Lloydicus, that's it.
I must not have gotten to the end.
No, he's the inheritor of Daft Punk's Abandoned Throne.
Yes.
Okay. I need to. Do we have it where we can just play it right here?
Not right now. You have to listen to the end of the podcast.
As a helmeted.
Hey, I lived it.
Yes.
Don't tell me to listen to it.
Yeah, and its title is Providence. And all that. Yes.
So we have an original outro to the podcast. Wow.
Yes.
No, I didn't know that.
Yes.
Did you tell us this already?
Yes, I sent you in the email and all that, and you just don't read the emails, do you?
I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah. I know Richard had heard it because he made comments about it.
Okay. Well, little Princess Cthulhu was, she's hard to deal with at home.
Yeah.
I don't have
the obligatory, those kids, those are kids.
Yeah. Those meddling kids. If it wasn't for those kids. Yeah.
Speaking of Princess Cthulhu, how is she doing?
She's doing quite well. Extra sassy this last few days. She's gotten in the habit now of wanting to go do sleepovers with her other little eldritch horrors.
Oh, hey. You looked to your back when you mentioned her name. Was you expecting her to jump out or something?
Yes. It must have been a reflection.
It's a reflex action. Yes,
I've only had these glasses for a few days
around to make sure she's not around.
And I think something was reflecting in them. I thought I saw somebody run by.
Okay.
Could be a ghost.
Could be Princess Cthulhu who decided to sneak in, but I think we would probably hurt her a lot more.
She would have had to have broken some glass to do that.
Yeah. I think she'd be here,
which I wouldn't put past her.
Yeah. Anything else I've forgotten that y'all want to talk about?
I can't think of anything offhand. I think that's
No,
a pretty comprehensive
Yeah.
listing.
that's a bit. That's sort of a pretty good year in review, I think.
Yeah. Next month we'll go back to being interviewing people, and all that joy. And we want best wishes to Lloyd Barron. Laird Barron, excuse me, I can't say his name right. Lord Barron, yes. David Richard, I see the stars are no longer right. We cease all discussions until they align again next month. 30 plus minutes of HP Lovecraft is sponsored by 30 plus minutes of HP Lovecraft SMLR. This podcast is created in association with LovecraftPod.com and the Logan Speculative Fiction Group with the help of the Logan County Public Library and the Great Old Ones. Special thanks to Katie Tyson for her reverberations who have no rivals, and Joshua Dukes for the purple yams. Until we meet again, may you avoid Princess Cthulhu, who turned on the resonator when we weren't looking. Don't touch what is swimming in the air.